DJI just gave us the first tease in a tweet with a short video of the Mavic 4 Pro. They also teased us about the date and time, but we're only getting one model. So which model is it? And what about the full leaked specs? Because we've got everything, folks. Additional leaked images, videos, and a full set of specifications. We got the specs for the RC Pro 2 controller, the creator combo, we've got all the bits, color profiles, and then there's the pitch and roll information, as well as detailed information about all three cameras. The only question is, which model are we going to be seeing next Monday? Well, folks, let's go ahead and break it down step by step. And if you are serious about staying up to date on the latest camera gear, go ahead and punch that subscribe button. It not only helps this channel grow, but it keeps you in the loop. "12 p.m. GMT or London time, and that works out to be 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is Toronto and New York time. And for the rest of Europe, that's around 1 to 2 p.m. So I'm pretty excited by this, and because I'm so excited, I'm going to take off 1 hour of work so I can bring you a live stream with my expert panel starting at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Eastern Daylight Time will start 1 hour before the actual announcement, and we'll probably go to around, well, 1 hour afterwards. Because I'm pretty excited. Now, while we already know the specification, we know everything about this, I'm expecting a few surprises. Now, what about US pricing? Will it stay the same? Did DJI manage to bring a whole bunch of units into the United States before the tariffs kicked in? Well, that is possible. After all, a couple of container ships were spotted bringing stuff from China off the LA coast, or the port of LA. So, my live stream will start Tuesday, May the 13th, starting at 7 a.m. in the morning with my expert panel. I should have that scheduled sometime tomorrow. It's going to be late by the time I finish getting this video out. I don't even know if I'm going to get this video out today. By the time you're watching it, it might be Thursday. But now let's turn our attention to all the specifications, because boy, do we have a lot of information for you. And that surprise, I'm going to save a teaser towards the end, because DJI isn't going to, well, make available every single option on Tuesday. Only one of them is going to be available. Which one? Well, stay tuned until towards the end. And a big thanks to Jasper Ellens for his coverage with Drone XL. And there was another gentleman too, and I can't remember his name, but Jasper Ellens has been doing a great job of keeping us up to date and has provided us with a lot of information. But now let's get to the leak specifications, and we're going to start off with the DJI RC2 Pro controller, or should I say the RC Pro 2 controller. It gets a 7-inch high brightness mini LED display, and those control sticks are foldable without any assembly required. And for those that love vertical shooting, the display is also rotatable. Comes in with a built-in microphone, direct connection to the DJI mic, and about 4 hours of battery life. Now for storage, it comes with 128 gigabytes of built-in storage. It supports a peak brightness of 2000 nits with 10-bit color and a contrast ratio of 1,000,000:1. And the screen contrast ratio is 98% DCI P3 with a wide color gamut. But now it's time for the bits and the bytes. Color profiles, and pitch and roll. The Hasselblad camera has a field of view of 72 degrees, a format equivalent of 28 millimeters, and an aperture range of f2 to f11. And it can focus from 2 meters to infinity. The medium telephoto lens has a field of view of 35 degrees, which equates to 70 millimeters, with an aperture of f2.8, and it can focus from 3 meters to infinity. And the telephoto camera, well, it has a 15-degree field of view, which equates to 168 millimeters, with an aperture of f2.8, and the same minimum focus distance of 3 meters to infinity. Now, and in terms of the ISO range, the Hasselblad camera can do 100 to 12,800 for normal. Now in D-Log, it can do 400 to 6400 D-Log M, 100 to 6400, and HLG 100 to 6400. Now for slow motion, what we're doing is we're cutting that top end in half. So normal, 100 to 6400, D-Log 400 to 3200, D-Log M 100 to 3200, which is the same as HLG. And for stills, that's 100 to 6400 at 25 megapixels and 100 to 3200 at 100 megapixels. As for the shutter speed, well, it can go all the way up to 1/16,000th of a second, and that's at 25 megapixels. At 100 megapixels, that cuts in half down to 1/8,000th of a second. When shooting with a 70mm at 12 megapixels, the electronic shutter speed is 1/16,000th of a second. At 48 megapixels, it's 1/8,000th of a second. And for the 168mm telephoto at 12.5 megapixels, the shutter speed is 1/16,000th of a second. At 15 megapixels, it's 1/16,000th of a second. But now it's time for the camera resolutions, the video resolutions. For the primary camera, the Hasselblad camera, it can do up to 6K, 60 frames per second. Now for 4K, it can do 4K DCI and UHD, both up to 120 frames per second. And Full HD, well, it can do that all the way up to 60 frames per second. So not nearly as high as 4K. And the 70mm medium telephoto, well, it can do H.264 as well as H.265, whereas the primary camera can only do H.264. Now this can only do 4K UHD, no 4K DCI, and it can do all the way up to 120 frames per second. It can shoot all the way up to 60 frames per second, just like Full HD. And for the telephoto, the 168mm, it can shoot H.264 all I as well as H.265. 4K UHD all the way up to 100 frames per second, no 120, that's a little bit surprising. As far as 2.7K, again all the way up to 60 frames per second, and Full HD also up to 60 frames per second. However, it is important to note that it's only the Mavic 4 Pro Creator Combo with a 512GB that actually supports H.264 all I recording. And it's going to be clear as to why when we take a look at the bit rates. When shooting H.264, that's the standard bit rate, we're looking at a reasonable 90 megabits per second. Now H.265, also the standard bit rate, we're looking at double that at 180 megabits per second. But H.264, the all I bit rate, that's 1.2 gigabits per second. Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, that's super big. To give you an idea, the Canon EOS R5, the Mark II, or this R5 Mark II, when shooting 8K, 60 frames per second RAW, we're looking at around 325 megabytes per second. Now, that's bytes versus bits, so if we want to convert that to bits, well, let's bring out the calculator here, because it's late and I can't think properly. So 325 times 8 equals 2,600 megabits per second, so 2.6 gigabits per second. But still, for H.264, all I, that's an awful lot of data there. Now, even when shooting all I with the R5 Mark II, it doesn't produce nearly as much data as that. So even in 4K, doing H.264 all I, it's generating way more data than this thing is when shooting RAW. Actually, not RAW in 4K, but either way, you see what I'm getting at. That's an awful lot of data. So, I guess it's V90 cards, because I doubt you're going to see a CF Express Type B card, one of these things, inside the Mavic 4 Pro. Although that would be great, wouldn't it? Now I haven't read down further to find out what type of storage media it takes, but I'm pretty sure it's a micro or a full-size SD card. I can't imagine can you imagine that? CF Express cards in a Mavic 4 Pro? Ooh. Anyhow, I think it's time to go off and talk about the color profiles. The Hasselblad camera in normal color can do 10-bit 422 in all I and 10-bit 420 H.265 in standard, as well as 8-bit 420 in standard, as well as 8-bit 420 H.264 standard. It can do HLG D-Log M and D-Log at 10-bit 422 with H.264 all I and 10-bit 420 H.265. Okay, those are definitely some interesting choices. I would have made some different choices myself. Now, ideally, I would like to see the choice of 10-bit 422 for both H.265 and H.264. Now, in this camera here, the R5 Mark II, which isn't too far off the price of, well, the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, depending on which model you get. But inside here, I have the choice of, well, XF AVCS and XF HEVCS, which stands for H.264 and H.265. And I can choose between 10-bit 420 and 10-bit 422, pretty much for any resolution that I'm shooting at. Now, there are some limitations if you're shooting SRAW or RAW, but yeah, I would like to have a few more choices. So DJI, I think this is a terrific camera. However, in a future firmware update, if you can give us a few more options over the color profiles, that would be great. But let's continue and take a look at the color profiles for the other two lenses, the 70 and the 168mm. The medium telephoto 70mm in normal color can do 10-bit 422 in H.264 all I and 10-bit 420 in H.265 standard. And like the previous camera, 8-bit 420 H.264 standard. And the rest of the color profiles are pretty much the same as the primary Hasselblad camera. Same with the telephoto 168mm normal color profile. We can see it's got all the same things, but again, that reminder that we can only do H.264 all I in the Mavic 4 Pro 512GB model, which sells for $4,400, which is $400 more than the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Now, I'm not saying by comparing to the R5 Mark II, it's not worthy. I think, based on what we get here for the optics, 3 cameras, 3 sensors, for an aerial platform like this, I think the dollar price is justified. I'm just saying that for some of these options here, I'd expect to see a bit more choice over H.265 and H.264, but still pretty powerful. All right, let's continue. And in terms of the LiDAR shooting, well, once again, the leaked specifications that we got thanks to Drone XL are bang on. Let's have a look. The Mavic 4 Pro does have an omnidirectional binocular visual system, as well as a front LiDAR and infrared sensor at the bottom of the drone. So for front sensing, the measurement range is 0.5 to 24 meters, and the detection range is 0.5 to 200 meters. Now, the effective sensing speed, the flight speed, 18 meters per second, and that's a limitation also in low light. So in low light, you're not going to be able to go past 18 meters per second. Now, field of view, horizontal, 180 degrees, and vertical, 180 degrees. Now, I'm not going to read off every single sensing here, but we do have side sensing information, which you can see there, the scanning upper sensing, as well as scanning lower sensing. All right, now it's for, well, what you've been waiting for, the Creator Combo. We had some leaked specifications come out a little while ago talking about the different pricing options. So the Mavic 4 Pro base alone is around $2,250. The Fly More bundle around $3,300, and the Creator Combo, I keep calling it the Creative Combo, the Creator Combo, well, it's selling for about $4,400. Now, I might be off by $50 or so, or if the tariffs are implemented, I could be off by several $1,000s. But the Creative Combo, wow, it does have a lot of stuff in that package. Now, when we first got the pricing a little while ago, it more or less told us that, yes, you get the RC Pro 2 controller and 2 batteries and the Mavic 4 Pro. It didn't tell us anything else. So let's take a deep dive and let me know if you're interested in the Creative Combo as your option. So obviously you get the Mavic 4 Pro, the DJI RC2, you get the Intelligent Flight Battery, as well as spare propellers. You get a storage cover, a USB-C data cable, a 100-watt USB-C power adapter, shoulder bag, and the Mavic 4 parallel charging hub, and of course 512 gigabytes of internal memory. Did you notice something strange there? Now, as I was reading through this, I found it kind of odd. It didn't say an extra intelligent battery, making it sound like you're only getting one battery. For $4,400, I would expect, well, a total of 3 batteries. So that's one thing I'm not too sure about. But I did mention at the beginning of this video that there is one of the options. The Mavic 4 Pro base, the Mavic 4 Pro Fly More bundle, or the Mavic 4 Pro Creative Combo. Only one of these is going to be released on Monday, May the 12th. Which one is it? Well, let's cue the chapter separation and then we'll get into it. So on Tuesday, May the 13th at 8 a.m. in the morning, we're only going to see one Mavic 4 Pro, and it's going to be not the Creative Combo, the 64 gigabyte model. Now that's still pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to this drone, and hopefully DJI sends one to me so I can try one out, test it out, and do a review for you, because I shot with the very first Mavic Pro, not the Mavic Pro hyphenated with various numbers and letters, the original Mavic Pro, going back to what, around 2016, 2017? I really loved that. And I think I paid around $1,200 for the Fly More bundle. But today's Mavic 4 Pro, well, you can actually compare it to the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. And maybe that's what I'll do when I get one, because the quality of the video that this thing can produce, and the stills, well, I think that the Mavic 4 Pro, while a completely different type of camera, an aerial camera platform, I think it does warrant to compare, especially when the Creative Combo costs somewhere around $4,400. $400 more than this Canon EOS R5 Mark II. So I'm pretty excited. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to start a live stream with live coverage of the event starting 1 hour before the actual announcement with my expert guest panel. So will you join me? And one other thing too, you might notice that throughout much of this video, I've had smart pre-order links for purchasing the Mavic 4 Pro at B&H, Adorama, and Amazon.com. Now, I have no idea what's going to happen on the announcement day because of said tariffs, whether they're going to be available for sale in the United States and the rest of the world, or if they're going to be announced in the rest of the world and they're going to hold off in the United States. It's really, really hard to say at this point. We've seen some companies announce in the United States, some companies delay their announcements worldwide, and some companies actually announce to the rest of the world and not have it available in the United States. So that's one of the surprises I'm waiting to see on Tuesday. So please join me at 7 a.m. for the live stream. And I want to say a big thanks to those of you still watching to the very end, and for supporting this channel. If you are interested in purchasing the Mavic 4 Pro using my smart pre-order links in the description down below, I do get anywhere between 2 to 5% back as a commission, which really does help support this channel. And by using the smart pre-order links, if you copy them down, put them in your browser, they're not going to show anything right now. They'll show the existing Mavic 3 Pro. But what it does, it's going to show you every single option available at Adorama or B&H or Amazon.com, instead of having to click through a series of links, and it takes a bit more time. So this should help save you anywhere from 5 to 35 seconds, depending on how quick you are with a mouse or a trackpad. So that way you can get your order in before everybody else, because who knows what's going on right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the United States does have a bunch of orders or cameras that were shipped into the US in anticipation of the tariffs. But if they did, they probably don't have enough for everybody. So that's why you want it. More reasons to pre-order, guys. I wish we could go back to 10 years ago when pre-ordering didn't really get you anything other than maybe, I don't know, they'd throw in, a CF Express card or something else. It's just the way the world is now. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. Have yourself a great day, a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.